Hello, everybody, and welcome to True Crime Banter, the podcast aimed at bringing you your dose of murder relaxation. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode.
Forgot to adjust them, so
whatever.
It is what it is.
Who cares?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the True Crime Banter
We're
podcast.
back.
I am like
you
talking
didn't ask
slow
for it,
motion
but we're
right now.
here.
Some people did actually.
Well,
They
I
said,
guess so.
"Hey, come back."
There's people that weren't mad that we're back.
That's
they
true.
didn't specifically
That's
ask
true.
for it, but
Right off the rip, I do want to say if I sound congested or if I don't talk very much in this episode, it's because Christian told me not to.
yeah, it's because I beat the shit out of him. So his
Yeah,
face is
and I'm
swollen.
getting over a little like head cold, so
Yeah, there's that too.
you know. Welcome everybody.
Hi.
I'm actually excited and happy to be back recording another episode. A lot of
know.
people, we've almost gotten 200 plays in the last 2 days on that last
Wow.
episode,
I
which
didn't
is
know that.
yeah, I think we were at 198 the last time I checked.
That's actually
So
awesome.
that's really
I didn't
cool.
know
It seems
that.
like people are really starting to enjoy
Yeah,
what we've been doing. But
finally.
it's
Just
about
kidding.
damn
Thanks, guys.
time.
Appreciate it.
You're going to be taking the lead on this one.
Yep. And it is a short one just to kind of, I don't want to say forewarn, but just to give everyone a heads up, I guess.
Well, just to forewarn everybody.
I feel like some of our episodes are kind of long, detailed, sometimes overly detailed. It
Yeah.
is what it
Or
is, but this
yeah.
one's actually kind of ongoing still, so it's not going to be
Ooh,
super lengthy.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
I still wanted to put it out there because
It
anyway,
deserves
I guess we'll
every
find
case
out.
deserves its limelight. So,
Yep.
all right. Well, before we get into it,
hmm
do we want to go over shout outs first? Let's do some shout outs real quick.
Okay, you go first.
Okay. So
Actually,
I've got
I'm going to go first. Is that okay? Just
You know
because my
what?
phone's going to die, and I'm
Okay.
so bad at that.
sure.
Okay. Let me get here. So this is, I'm kind of just reading off of the last episode we did, which if you guys haven't listened, Joel Guy Jr.,
Oh yeah.
that's a
It's
good one. Riley did that one. That one's a really good one. It's pretty messed up, but I know we definitely have a niche of people that love the really messed up ones. You'll love that one. But that one got a lot of attention. And we got some people that commented on it more than some of the other ones. Miss Cuppy, that's the name.
Okay.
She said, "This story is bananas." And we agree. The story is bananas.
BANANAS.
And then Nicolette Burrow, she's an OG. She's
Yeah.
been kind of messaging back and forth. She said, "This one looks like it's going to be wild."
She-
And she's right. It
Yeah,
is.
very
It's very
true.
wild.
She's the one that you said Nicolette Burns or something.
I
like
know,
you put-
because it cut off before. Don't
Yeah.
worry. I messaged her / apologize. And then Melissa.K.Walker said, "I would hate to be that guy's eye doctor." And just go check it out. You'll understand what she's
Yeah.
saying. And I very much agree. And then Sam Claire 84 pointed out that the Morbid podcast just did this one. So
Right,
go
yeah.
listen to that one.
How-
I'm definitely on the whole bandwagon of like, let's all share each
For
other's
real.
stuff.
Actually, we were on the way back from the gym today. We were listening to their episode
Yeah.
of it because it's just. I always like to see. I think we all like
Right.
to hear different
Sometimes you're like,
viewpoints
oh,
of things.
they pointed out this certain thing and I didn't point that out, but like I love
Exactly.
that. Or
Yeah.
like maybe we kind of highlighted a certain part.
Yeah, and what a
Yeah.
coincidence because they uploaded it the same day that we uploaded it.
Yeah, that's
and I was
really
like,
weird.
whoa.
I'm not sure. And then Kaylin Lane
Oh.
said, "Thanks for the disclaimer to not eat during this
Oh,
one."
yes.
Which
Yes.
she was actually the one that pointed out
Yeah.
to make sure to point out not to eat during
Yes.
these gross ones. Not everybody can handle it, so
Yeah.
that's okay.
And actually, she said, so she is sending us our first quote unquote fan mail, I
Ooh,
believe.
thank
So
you
we
in
are
advance.
keeping an eye out on the USPS for
Yes. And then Nadia MCK05 said, I love your channel, heart. Also love the updates on Instagram. By far the best podcast I've listened to, which is quite the disclaimer. And she said, and I've listened to a lot. She said, keep them coming and I'll keep on watching/listening.
Nice.
And then Dean's Home Inspection said, just listened. She said Junior was batshit crazy and he was just enabled to the point of disabled. And he said, tough love early works better than later. And he also corrected me that it's a ball peen hammer and not ball point hammer.
So this was going to be my bit of banter for
really?
the day. Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
Just real quick, and then I have one shout out to give.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so going back and listening through and editing it, you said ball point. And first off, I don't even know if it's a ball peen hammer either. I think it's just a sledgehammer.
Dude.
But you and I are going back and forth with this. Oh yeah, just a ball point. It's really gross and disgusting. It has a ball thing
at the end of it, so it's definitely not a sledgehammer.
Well,
aren't those different? Those are like big. Those are really big.
But there's some smaller ones that you can get to and rubberized
okay, well, this
ones.
one definitely has a ball at the end of it,
But
so that's
I was
not
thinking,
right.
and this is why I wanted it to be my bit of banter. Imagine
oh my gosh.
a ballpoint pen being described how you were just, oh my God, that's so scary and terrifying. And it's just a little ballpoint pen.
I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
What?
I don't frequent Home Depot, so I'm not sure. But
And
anyway, guys, now I know. See? You learn new things every day. Maybe we'll teach you something.
That's
I
right.
don't know.
And
also,
oh, okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that was going to be like my bit of banter because.
Oh, well, that was quick. Nice.
Yeah, just a little, I thought it was funny.
Just a little lesson.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say Stephanie Folsom, I made sure, because she private messaged me, so I made sure to ask her if it was okay. But she said, I'm fangirling. And she has cute little like hand emojis with the little like blushing face. She said, I didn't realize you guys were following me until now. She said, I love the podcast. It's my new obsession. I think I listened to all the episodes in 2 days. So she's probably part of that 200 whatever you were talking about. Yeah. She said, you guys are great. I shared the link of the podcast with my best friend and my sister-in-law because thanks to me, they became big fans of True Crime Podcast. She said, I can't wait to hear more from you.
We love to hear that.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be just our podcast. There's so many out there that's worth listening to.
Yeah,
so.
and I learned so much from other people, and then I try to implement that.
And there's just so many cases out there, you know? Like,
I know.
The more that we can get out there, the better.
And sometimes you'll do a podcast or an episode, or someone else will, and then more info will come out, and then you can do like an updated.
Exactly.
Like I feel like it never ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into the case, I have one more shout out, and this one's a little bit delayed because I kind of forgot that Apple Podcast allows reviews.
Oh,
so we were at Target the other day.
Yeah.
Was that today?
That was today. It's okay. It's been a
feels
long
like
day.
It was
it's
the
okay.
other day. And I was like, you know what? Let me check to see how we're doing on Apple Podcasts. And first off, we've got 9 5-star reviews, which is incredible.
Thank you. We'll
and
take
those
it. Thank you.
Aren't us reviewing our
really
own
isn't.
podcast.
I swear,
so
you guys.
thank you so much.
Yes.
That's awesome. And then we actually got a review from Marissa_Q back on March 22nd.
Thank you, Marissa.
So this is long overdue. She said, I got a follow request on Instagram from True Crime Banter, which would be you.
Yep, that's me.
And I'm so glad that I accepted. Since then, I have been listening to every single episode and liking it more and more with each story. Okay. I've been loving the little banter in the beginning and the real conversation as the cases are told. Totally hooked. With 2 exclamation points. So Marissa, thank you. Actually, and you guys, absolutely for sure, like because it takes so much effort to go to Apple Podcasts and physically write a review.
Yeah.
If I see that, I'm reading it. I mean, we try to shout out everybody we can. But for sure, if you go to Apple Podcasts, write a review.
That's probably why we didn't see it for so long. Because I mean, it's people are already on Instagram, so it's easy to kind of just be like something, or not that we're taking away from that, but on that platform, it's kind of easy to overlook it. So sorry for that, but also thank you so much.
Yeah, and we keep getting great reviews on Spotify too. So if you guys don't know, you can rate the podcast on Spotify now. So thank you. Yeah, thank you all for listening. I hope you guys
and I think I posted a thank you today, but thank you again. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yes. And also, again, if you have any cases that you think aren't getting the attention that they deserve, most cases don't.
I've already gotten quite a few that I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like cataloging them.
Yeah.
I'm making a list.
We've got things set up, so please let us know. Mm-hmm. All right, well, I guess let's go ahead and get right into it.
Okay. 30-year-old Lauren Cho, or Elle, as friends and family called her, had big plans. She was one of those people that kind of dabbled in everything and loved trying new things and kind of finding out what she liked. And kind of just a touch on her impressive resume, she was involved in music, she was an aspiring piercer, she was a great baker, artist, photographer, which makes sense why she had a huge plan to travel across the country to kind of start fresh, do an adventure, go with her friend. And prior to this big change, Lauren had actually studied music at Westminster Choir College. And she was actually a high school music teacher in her state of New Jersey prior to leaving. So she kind of had like this cross-country road trip that she had planned.
Okay.
So in the winter of 2020, she decided to set out with her friend, Cody Orell. I'm not sure if it's Oral, Orell, whatever. But they decided to head out on this adventure. And this was going to be a long drive. So they were going to start in New Jersey and end up in California, where they planned.
Wow. So
I know.
Full cross country.
Yes, full cross country. Yeah, not even just like a state away, the actual other side. Where they planned to run a food truck and kind of stay at like an Airbnb until they kind of figured out, you know? So she had actually only met Cody earlier that year, but they hit it off and they seemed to be people that sought out thrills, to be spontaneous. So it was kind of like kindred spirits, kind of. So I didn't really want to like say this like too premature, and then I just decided, like, you know what, let's just put it out there, because
Fuck it, put it out there.
I looked at maybe 20 to 25 websites because, like I said, this case is still ongoing.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to see what everyone was saying. It is so short that I feel like I could kind of not like skim it, but kind of be like, okay, what are the like overlapping facts that everyone has, and then kind of you're able to tell what sticks out from that. And I would say probably 4 to 5 websites out of the 20-ish that I looked at, they mentioned that Cody was actually an ex of hers.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask,
Yeah.
is if they were dating or really great friends. Obviously,
there was
if you're
some
gonna
kind
drive
of
across the
friendship
country,
base,
like,
right?
yeah.
So maybe it was kind of a weird friends with benefits. I'm not really sure. I don't want to speculate too much, but I did want to put it out there. But I also know how people get when like, oh, it's an intimate partner, they probably did it.
Right.
That doesn't seem to be the case here. So I didn't want anybody to be like, oh, well, it was Cody, you know, kind of thing. But also, it's mentioned enough that this was her ex. But they seem to get along fine, and, you know, so they kind of had this common goal in mind. Let's go on an adventure. Let's see what California has
I was
going to
say, people who travel across the country like that, they probably are like, fuck it, let's do. I mean, yeah, we used to date, but who cares? Let's just. You want to go across the country? I wanted to. Let's do it. You know.
And there's not too much on Cody, but from like all the stuff that they say about Lauren, it's like she's super chill, super easy to get along with. Might be somebody that like, hey, we might have a history, but like, who cares? Like, we both want to go on an adventure, like whatever.
Like you and I.
Yeah, totally the same
we got
thing.
a history.
So they arrived and settled, and this puts us now in June of 2021. So pretty recent. I mean, within a year, right?
This is only 6 or 7 months after they started their road trip.
Yeah, right. So they've kind of, I don't want to say settled, but now they're in Bombay Beach, California. And I've been told, I mean, I've seen on these websites that it's kind of just outside of like Joshua Tree.
Okay.
So that seems to be like a place that a lot of people know, and we'll kind of get into that for other reasons later. But I kind of wanted to reference the location because it does kind of come into play at some point.
Before, I'm just calling it right now, Joshua did it.
What? Shut up.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay.
I really thought that was going to be like a legit thing. Okay. So at this point, Lauren is actually a private chef for an Airbnb. And her and Cody are living at this Airbnb, but from what it looks like, it's like in this like makeshift kind of bus kind of thing. Like, you know how people will do those? Kind of where it's like a little house kind of RV thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's another thing that's kind of a discrepancy-ish, but like, who cares? Like, if it's a bus or it's an Airbnb room, like whatever, they're sleeping there. Okay. So this place is called The Hole, and that's spelled WHOLE. And it was owned by Tao Raspoli. And this was just outside of Joshua Tree National Park. So going west, again, I know I referenced them last time, but I'm 99% sure that's what it was. I just listened to this not too long ago, but they did an episode on this too, and I'm pretty sure this was the one, if not, this was an article that I read it in, where they mentioned that this was a little bit like of an eccentric living place for like artists, and some stuff went down. Like people would kind of do like maybe like drugs and stuff, like kind of like spiritual things. It wasn't just like an Airbnb for like moms and grandmas
like
and
nude, like saunas or something.
Do you remember this?
I don't know if
because I think I remember that too.
I just it sounds.
I didn't have time to go re-listen to the episode, but that sounds very familiar, right?
I was gonna say
weird
there's
stuff.
Areas around like Joshua Tree that entertainment that I've watched outside of like true crime.
Yeah,
they've gone there, and that's kind of a thing that's, I guess, transpires or takes place.
Yeah.
Like nude saunas or hot tubs or
which you're
showers,
kind of like desert-ish area.
Yeah.
I could totally see somebody going for like a spiritual retreat or something.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Which honestly, sign me up. This sounds like really great. But this is where they were working at the time and living. And so this brings us now to the day of June 28th, 2020, where a housekeeper says... I'm sorry, 2021.
21.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Where a housekeeper says that Lauren and Cody had begun drinking kind of early in the day, which I can totally relate to that. And one thing led to another, and some kind of argument broke out, which that's another thing that we're not quite clear on what it was, but it seems that throughout the website, it's not a big deal. Whatever it was something small and stupid.
Okay.
And you know how it is when you're drinking, sometimes things can seem like a bigger deal.
Right.
Maybe that's what it was. I'm not sure. But it ended in Cody not letting Lauren drive away. And I think this is kind of what I gathered from the website. She kind of got mad that he wasn't letting her leave in the car.
Okay.
So probably due to her drinking, right? And so Cody said about 3 p.m. Lauren had gotten mad and walked away from the Airbnb without her phone, food, or water.
Okay.
Keep in mind, this is California in late June.
Deserty.
Terrible time to be without any of those things. So Cody and some friends searched for her for a few hours and finally decided to call the authorities.
Okay. I'm just wondering, do they have like any idea like what direction she went? I can't imagine. Wait, did she drive off then?
No. So she didn't have her car.
Wise,
so she walked off. She was wearing jean shorts and a yellow t-shirt, and she headed off. And he knows what direction she headed in. But I think he probably thought she was going to come back, because who heads out without your phone? First of all, you're like a young person. You're like a millennial. And
I just can't imagine if you decide to take a car in the direction that she was walking. It can't take that long, I feel like, to catch up to her,
right? So this is kind of part of the whole mystery.
Okay.
So they look for her for a little bit. And finally, after a little bit, they decide to call the authorities. So Cody is stated as saying that nobody could locate her tracks leading away from the residence, but all they could see was the tracks from the search party. So this kind of tells you at this point a ton of people had come out. Probably people from the Airbnb guests, probably, because she was like a fan favorite there. People knew who she was.
Okay.
People probably surrounding the areas, obviously authorities, whatever. And they've probably been like, well, she couldn't have gone too far. So there's all these people walking around. Any tracks that were left are probably freaking gone now, right? Nobody obviously did this on purpose, but it's normal. Yeah. What was your face?
I just think, it's one of those situations where it's like you're doing too much at beginning. You know, I mean, not doing too much, but you're doing as much as you can, and it's an unfortunate circumstance to where you doing so much is actually preventing.
And maybe this is something that normally wouldn't happen, but because I think of the heat and the fact that she had no phone or food or water, you know?
Yeah.
And it was very hot out,
it's very,
you know?
like,
and
urgent.
she's on foot.
You're thinking we need to, instead of sitting here
and
waiting for
it's been a couple hours. It's
come,
not like she was 20 minutes just kind of huffing and puffing and came back and was like, okay, I'm calmed down now. Like, she just didn't come back. So Cody is also stated as saying that he believes that she was picked up by someone that she had planned on meeting up with later in the week, but he didn't know who it was, which I find odd, because if she just storms out, if this is a very spontaneous, we got in a fight out of nowhere, then this person would have either had to have been waiting for her,
and if
or this
she's
was
not taking her
prearranged.
phone or anything.
Exactly.
So yeah, she's not calling saying, "Hey, can you come pick me up?" Even
exactly.
if she did, she would probably take her phone and be like,
right,
"I'm over here now," or something.
And
like
I'm just
that.
thinking, like, if you didn't take your phone, either it was dead and there's no point, or you really were intoxicated enough that, like, fuck my phone, I'm just gonna get out of here. I don't even care. I'm so mad. I don't even want to go back for my phone.
Yeah.
Like, I just need to get out of here and calm down. Because I can't think of anyone, like, you know what I mean? Or she really did plan on just walking down the block and then something happened. Right.
No, I mean, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about it.
Because I'm just like, whether he's bringing this up, because this is still ongoing, like I said, so we could be here all day. But don't worry, we won't do that to you. But he could sit there and be like, he could either be deterring this away from him and be like, well, she was talking to someone, it was probably them, or he could be trying to grasp at straws because he's so desperate to get his friend back, his ex-girlfriend, friend, whatever, being like, I don't know, I know she was talking to someone, or he could be like, well, there was a guy and I don't know who it was.
Exactly. And I guess this is where I'm not going to say the past between them comes into play as they dated, so it has to be him.
Right.
But this is where knowing the relationship between him and her, not just whether it's sexually or romantically, just the friendship relationship too. Would you have any reason to harm her?
Yep. But at this time, right, because this is so fresh and new, this is within hours, I don't think anybody sat down and interrogated him about their problems.
Right. Yeah.
This is just like they're a woman who has no water in this super hot heat. Let's just get her.
Yeah.
They're probably hoping they'll find her and ask her what happened at this point. So something I put in here, I said, I was wondering if her phone was left behind, if they searched it. This wasn't on any websites. So if he's saying that she was supposed to meet up with someone, would that have been in her phone?
Yeah.
Did they see anything? Exactly. So that hasn't been released. Whether or not that's a tactic, I'm not sure.
Yeah, or if they have access to it.
Yeah, or if maybe it was a lie. I don't know. But police search and rescue, along with dogs, they searched the whole surrounding area on foot, along with the fixed wing aircraft, maybe like drones and stuff, searching from the sky above as well. So this was like all hands on deck. This is And this was like, 5 p.m. when she was reported missing. So you really only have so much daylight left. I guess the only good thing, quote unquote, would be if the temperature drops a little bit. So she's not going to be as hot if she's stranded somewhere. But then it gets into freezing sometimes in the desert too.
Yeah, especially.
Right. So the Morongo, I'm not sure if I'm saying that. Morongo Basin Sheriff Station told reporters that they believe that she was voluntarily missing due to no evidence of foul play, but they would still continue to search. So I was kind of wondering why they thought this, because where would she be if this was voluntary?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of,
you have no
if
phone.
She voluntarily walked off. It's like we've talked about before, when you're an adult and just in the Jay Cook and Tina Van Kylenborg case, where
that's true.
If you're an adult, I mean, you have the right to go and do whatever you want. You don't,
except when you're in the desert and it's hot and you might die. Like that's where I'm like,
and that is where you have to.
If she didn't come back and it was hot, and you know what I mean, like I feel like a normal rational person would be like, I need to seek some kind of shelter and go back.
Are they saying this that same day that she went missing? They're saying, well,
I'm not sure if that was the same day.
Okay,
actually,
I would have to assume, because it sounds like a situation where it's like, hey, maybe they have different time periods in that
and they're probably trying to calm people and be like, listen, it's not a kidnapping. Like, it's all good. Yeah,
Give her another couple hours and see if she comes back.
So this whole time, friends and family are all over social media, and they're posting constantly, trying to keep her story out there. Like we said, she was involved in so many things. She was a baker. She was at the school as a teacher, choir teacher. She was also an aspiring piercer, photographer. So she had a huge social group. Maybe not best friends with everyone, but she knew so many people, and people were all over this. So at one point, Lauren Cho and Gabby Petito's case were kind of...
simultaneously.
Yes, these were happening at the same time.
This sounds a little more familiar now. Yeah.
So this is where the whole missing white woman syndrome comes
Yeah.
into play, which is very much a thing. Like when
Yeah,
I say
for sure.
quotes, I'm just quoting what people say. It is very much a thing. So this was a huge ordeal because at the same time, Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie are getting all of this. They're tracking her. They're trying to get security footage. And people just kind of felt like Lauren's case just kind of fell under.
Yeah.
And there's actually a few other cases around this time that I would love to go over later, but these just two happened to be linked kind of at the same time. And some people actually, at some point when there was no information and they were both missing,
thought it might
be the same person. This was just a weird coincidence, as we now know, because Brian Laundrie was found.
And obviously, there's different things that play into the popularity of the Gabby Petito case with, you know, video evidence and her being a YouTuber or whatever something like that.
Influencer kind of.
So there are certain reasons why it might spark a little more interest, but like you're saying, it's I mean, there's no difference between the cases, really.
And also, too, Gabby Petito's case, there was some, the footage of when they were, like, not arrested, but pulled over. So there was kind of a little bit, it kind of went a little bit further back. There was more of a backstory.
Murder mystery.
But at the same time,
involved.
there was 2 missing females.
Yeah.
And people didn't know. And in the same area as the Joshua Tree National Forest. So it's like, this is really weird. Like, what are the chances?
I mean, getting a little off topic here.
Yeah.
But with that Gabby Petito case, wasn't there a case where the park that they were at, the 2 women were murdered? 2 women
who were married.
Yeah,
yes.
And got murdered.
So even they were linked.
And not just linked, but then that entire case just slid to the side.
2 women were
Gabby
shot
Petito.
in the head in a camp. Right. That's a whole separate one. Because,
I mean, it just shows where... Even in the case, you're like, wait, what the fuck is going on? There's another 2 people that were murdered here.
What are the chances in that small amount of time, right? So, at this point, people just thought it was 2 young, pretty girls that went missing. There was a lot of negative attention around this, like I said, with the whole missing white woman syndrome. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but Lauren is Korean American. So that's why this whole thing was a little bit controversial. And this issue is still something that frustrates and aggravates families of color while trying to find their own people.
Yeah.
And they feel like they're just getting swallowed by all of these like more important cases, quote unquote. Is this always the case? Absolutely not. But there's so much evidence of it that it's kind of hard to deny it, which is why.
And there's a lot of
you can't. So
there's a lot of not politics, but there's a lot of politicking going on
and
in all different departments.
Politicize stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. Missing people and murder people should not be a political thing, but it somehow turns out to be.
No, and what I mean is not even actually political, but I mean like, hey, if you want to get a promotion in your department, being able to solve a case that is, high profile is going to help you get higher up.
Right, which is really sad.
Yeah. And granted, you get a lot of people in these positions, detectives and officers that actually have good hearts and they just want to solve it for the people. But then you do have a couple of people who are just like, let's prioritize this one because it's going to help me look better.
So Gabby Petito's father, is actually stated as saying, "I want to ask everyone to help all the people that are missing and need help," he said. "And if you don't do that for other people that are missing, that's a shame because it's not just Gabby that deserves it." So it seems like he's aware of this too. So let's now fast forward a few months to October 9th of 2021, where remains were found in an open desert terrain near her last known location. They were positively identified as Lauren's. Police say this area and the surrounding areas were searched multiple times. So what does this mean exactly? Someone either placed her there later,
right,
or it really was not as searched as well as they're stating.
I was gonna say.
So what that means, I'm not sure. So apparently, toxicology reports are still pending, even though it's been over 6 months since she was found. So whether or not still being tested, I'm not sure, or they just haven't released it.
They don't know how she died?
Yeah, so that's what they're saying. So they keep saying toxicology. They just keep saying toxicology.
Like overdose or something, or
which
passed out out there?
Right, exactly. But so there was a housekeeper, like I said, that was stated that she knew they were drinking, whether she saw it or whatever. or they were just acting crazy earlier in the day. But I'm like, if it's already been put out there that they were drinking, then why does it matter if she had blood alcohol in her level?
But if there's anything else in her system,
right.
roofies or...
So, which is odd, because if you're found that much later, the months later, how much is left to test?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and
so,
obviously we're
unless
not
they're talking about, like,
analysts.
Maybe somebody drugged her and put her out there, but, like, what are the chances that between where she was and where she was found, that means somebody would have had to pick her up, do something to her, and then drop her back off by her own house where she could be found.
Right.
It's weird that you wouldn't go dump her somewhere else.
It is weird, because, like...
Why would you bring her back to where you picked her up at? You know? This, honestly...
I would say the idea would be to make it look like, yeah, she died of natural causes out there.
So I put that in here, too. I'm like, but then you'd be banking on the fact that she wouldn't be found with any kind of evidence on her. So whether you strangled her, shot her, whatever it was, you would be hoping that they would only find her remains and not find that she was killed that way.
And that's what I'm wondering is, like, if they don't have a cause of death and they can't tell you if she was raped or strangled or anything like that, like, so they're just not, they haven't released any of that information.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like they don't want to release that information yet because they're trying to figure out who did it.
Yeah.
Pretty much is what it sounds like.
And so there's kind of this weird, I mean, there's so many people at this Airbnb, like, it's just like one of those places.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I feel like, I mean, somebody would have seen him walking off after her, or they would have, or someone, unless no one's came forth, where somebody would have been like, yeah, Cody was missing for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
But then if she went missing at 3, there's probably people that were like, yeah, she was hanging out, and then I didn't see her after 3 o'clock.
Or I guess, you know,
but then he called the cops at 5. So that's 2 hours to technically do something.
It makes you wonder, though, if it's a situation like the Sasha Samsoning, where as they're out there trying to find her, maybe someone did find her and decided to take advantage of her rather than save. I mean, obviously, you know, if she is...
Seems weird to do it out in the open like that, you know? That's my only thing. Because if you're, like, really out in the elements, like it says where she was found...
Yeah.
I mean, you got to really hope no one's going to see you out there.
Or, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's possible that something did happen to her out there.
Yeah.
And, it's...
Yeah. Isn't that weird, though? I mean... There was such a small amount of time from when she walked off to when people started looking for her that just say, for example, she tripped and hurt her ankle, she would be screaming. She would have been
found or something.
Or she would have been like, hey.
Or even if she did pass out to natural causes. Not like died, but like just passed out.
Yeah, you've got some time.
Yeah, you're not going to die right away.
Right.
So I would feel like there's...
Isn't that
if
so
it's within
weird?
Walking distance of her.
Yeah.
So not saying, you know,
that's
she was found 12 hours away like the Panama hiker. Like, no, if you're in a reasonable or understandable walking distance from where you went missing, that should have been searched.
Yeah.
And she should have been found.
And I'm not sure why they're not releasing the toxicology. I'm sure they have it by now. It's been 6 months. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I suspect that there's probably information in that report or in the autopsy report as to why or what happened.
You know what? Well, actually, I don't know. What if she, like, this whole place was known to be, like, an artist's kind of funky? What if she took something and it made her freak out and she walked off and she OD'd? I don't know.
Right, no, it could be. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, so even in that situation, she ODs, they know that. Now they're trying to figure out if it was accidental overdose or on purpose. And what you don't want to do...
Her? You would
you would
find
think.
her. Yeah.
But what you don't want to do is give out this information to the public for then people to concoct an alibi to get away with it.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that whatever the autopsy report or toxicology report says, it's making them at least look into, could somebody be responsible for her?
Yeah. And I guess there's only so much you can do with this little evidence. So, like I forewarned everybody, this is where it drops off. That's it for now.
That is.
But I did want to put it out there because I've been seeing Gabby Petito everywhere. And I don't want to say luckily, but in her case, there is some resolve.
Right.
We kind of have answers.
Yep.
Brian admitted to doing it. His parents admitted they knew,
Yep.
like, they found his remains, blah, blah, blah. You know, they found her. So I don't want to say, like, luckily, but they have answers and they can kind of start their process, as painful as it is. And no one has anything to do. Like, no one has anything on this at all.
Yeah, and and that's...
But
at
maybe
least
she was found. I'm just going to say that.
Right.
At least she was found.
Yeah,
so
she's
at least
not
you can
missing,
bury her or...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, for us as quote-unquote true crime fans or people
Yeah.
who find not just entertainment but also interest in this, cases like this do, I guess, draw our attention.
Yeah.
But if you are, your average everyday person, I suppose, or someone not into true crime, then, if you heard this case, you might hear it once on the news, but you're not, and maybe you'll bring it up at work the next day, maybe once, be like, oh, you hear that one girl went missing?
Yeah.
But there's not a lot to follow up with it.
Yeah.
And that's probably why it's not getting
exactly.
the attention,
Yeah, and this is not the first one, obviously. There's so many
No.
cases that just kind of, like, plummet off and there's nothing until there's a tip or,
Till
you know
there's
what I mean?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or somebody in jail is like, okay, well, I actually did that one or whatever. Like, sometimes there's something that comes out years later. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah. And
but this is like a weird
there's-
small group of people and it's
You-
like nobody's really talking. Or if they are, it's very limited.
Yeah, and I feel like this could be one of those situations, too, where maybe in, like, 5 years,
Yeah.
we hear something,
Yeah.
inklings as to what might have happened.
Yeah.
And then, but it might be a story where you're like, are you making it up because you think it's cool to make it up?
But you know what? We've had a few people message that are like, yeah, I'm from California, or yeah, I'm kind of in that area, or whatever it is. And this is California. So I'm just saying, this is, I'm just going to put it out
I'm
there.
interested to see.
That's what these platforms are for.
Yeah, for everybody
Let's put it out
listening,
there.
when we post this on our Instagram, or obviously when this goes live and you see our post on Instagram, after you listen to it, come back on the post and comment what you guys think might be going on or might be happening, or any theories that you think, or if you have extra additional information, like maybe you are local down there,
or maybe
we've
you
got
knew
a few
one
people.
of them or something. I don't know. Maybe you've
Yeah,
been to that Airbnb and you're like, yeah, it's freaking weird. I don't know.
It is.
I've heard some stuff. I'm just saying.
It definitely brings up questions.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I'd love to hear what our listeners have to say or think about this.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
yes,
and maybe this is like a little bit of banter to end the episode, because this is one that sadly we don't really have a conclusion to yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon we do. Weirdly, like you just said, we've got a lot of listeners down in California.
Mm-hmm.
And you just found out, was it yesterday or today, about the 3 people found?
Good question.
That was yesterday, I think.
Is that yesterday?
That my sister
Oh my
sent that to
God.
us? I think it was yesterday.
Yes.
So my sister sent us an
Yes.
article because she lives down there.
Yeah.
In Irvine-ish area.
Yeah.
And they found 3 bodies, right?
Yeah.
3 bodies that
If
had
you
been
didn't already see it on the
decomposing.
gram, yeah.
Yep. For over a year.
A mom, a dad, and a full-grown son, like an adult son.
Yep. And they suspect murder-suicide.
Mm-hmm.
But to think that these people were dead for a full year and nobody was like...
This is like a neighborhood, like a suburbs neighborhood, y'all. This is not like a cottage in the mountains. This is the
we
milkman,
had somebody else say
the
that
grandma
they
outside in the flower garden.
it's just right down in their area, right?
Yeah.
Someone else on Instagram.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I
know.
There's
also,
a lot of
where
crazy
my
shit out
brother
there.
is down there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Maybe we should reach out to them and figure out what the
Where
hell
were
they've been doing.
you?
That is it is
Isn't that weird?
wild things are going on down
Yeah.
there in California. I mean, I think they always have, but
And I'm just going to put this out there. I'm not going to say too much, but this reminds me of some other true crime cases. If you're like me and you've got a library in your mind,
yeah.
there's some other ones that remind me a lot of this that are like actual, like been resolved, like creepy houses that were discovered to have some secrets in them. So this kind of, when she sent this, I was like, ooh, this is jogging some memories. Like, this is good case refresher. Like, there's some out there that are like this.
There's a lot.
Yeah, because we don't have any answers for this one, but there are some similar ones that do have information on.
All right, well, maybe we can cover some of those in the future.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Christian.
You're so welcome.
Christian, for that is so. Lauren Cho is her name.
Lauren Cho. Yep.
Cho. Okay, El Cho.
L. Yep.
Is what they called her.
Yeah, she was only
Well,
30.
Yeah, if you guys have any information or any theories or really any thoughts on the case, I would love to hear it.
Yeah.
Like I said on the Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. And it was a little bit of a shorter one.
It was, but I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's fine. And honestly, like we said, this is what these platforms are for.
Exactly.
Let's keep it out
Not
there.
everything's about,
Hashtags, let's
14
keep it
hours
going.
of content.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to just bring you the stories that...
Maybe next time a little bit longer. But yeah.
We'll see.
After that last one, I think we needed to take it easy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I sure
Yeah.
did. Once again, thank you. And
So welcome.
this has been the True Crime Banter podcast.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you next time. Take care.